Hi there, Elise Dewsbury here from New Musicals Inc. with another one of my vlogs on how to get no feedback from Elise. Last time I started a four-part series talking about different theories of storytelling. I started out with the theory of my or the log line of my mentor John Sparks, something from vaudevillian George M. Cohan, Pixar's 22 Rules, and the Four Questions according to Stephen Schwartz. For this one, I have one longer one. I'm going to basically read it to you, but I'm also going to tell you where to find more information about it so that if it's something you want to look into more, you can go find out about it for yourself. And I think it will be interesting for you. So this one is called, the theory is called Dramatica. And the creator of it is Chris Huntley. And he says he has 5 central concepts. So I'm going to read you a little bit from Chris Huntley. So what exactly is Dramatica? Dramatica is a whole new theory of story because it wasn't based on any pre-existing theories. Much of what it has to say can sound pretty unfamiliar. Still, the amazing part is that with each new concept you learn, whole new worlds of understanding and skill will open up to you. There are really only 5 central concepts that you'll need to know to understand all that follows. First of all, the story mind. One unique concept that sets Dramatica apart from all other theories is the concept that every complete story is a model of the mind's problem-solving process. To fully explore any issue, an author has to examine all possible solutions to that issue and make an argument to prove to an audience that the author's way is best. If you leave out a part of that argument or diverge from the point, your story will have plot holes or inconsistencies. Once you have covered every angle in your argument, you've mapped all the ways an audience might look at the problem and therefore all the ways anyone might look at that problem. In short, you have created a map of the mind's problem-solving process. I love that because, of course, when I look at stories, I'm always looking for those holes, those inconsistencies, those things that make me go, wait a minute, and the things you do not want your audience doing because it takes them out of the story. Characters, plot, and theme are the thoughts of this story mind made tangible. An audience can see them and learn. When a story fully develops this model of the mind, we call it a grand argument story because it addresses the problem from all sides. Okay, I think we're on to concept 2, the overall story through line. An audience is given 2 principal views of this story mind. Oh, maybe we're still talking about the story mind, sorry. The first is the overall story view, so-called because it is a dispassionate look at the issues of the story. Imagine the argument of a story is a battle between 2 armies. The overall story view is like that of a general on a hill overlooking the battle. The general focuses on the unfolding strategies and sees the soldiers not by name, but by their function on the field. Foot soldier, grenadier, cavalryman, scout. The general may care very much for the soldiers, but must concentrate on the events as they unfold. The overall story through line is often thought of as plot, but as we shall see later, plot is so much more. The main character through line. There's a second view of the battle provided to the audience, that of the soldier in the trenches. Instead of looking at the story mind from the outside, what if that story mind were our own? That is what happens when we become the soldier on the field. We identify with the main character of the story. Through the main character, we experience the battle as if we were actually participating in it. We are much more concerned with what is happening immediately around us than we are for the larger strategies that are really too big to see. This is the personal argument of the story as experienced through the main character through line. As we shall explore shortly, the main character doesn't have to be the soldier leading the charge in the battle as a whole. Our main character might be any of the soldiers on the field, the cook, the medic, the bugler, or even the recruit cowering in the bushes. The influence character through line. For a moment, keep yourself in the shoes of the main character. You are right in the middle of the story's battle. Smoke from dramatic explosions obscures the field. You are not absolutely sure which way leads to safety. Still, before there was so much turmoil, the way was clear, and you were confident in your sense of direction. Then, from out of the smoke, a shadowy figure appears blocking your way. You can't see well enough to tell if it is friend or foe. It might be a compatriot trying to keep you from stepping onto a minefield, or it might be the enemy luring you into a trap. What to do? Do you keep on your path and run it over, or try another path instead? The shadowy figure is your influence character. Which way to go is the decision that faces a main character as their leap of faith. Note that an influence character frequently is not the antagonist of a story, so not necessarily the bad guy or the villain, right? To make an argument, both sides must be represented. To completely explore the issue at the heart of the story, an impact character must present an alternative approach to the main character. The influence character through line describes the advocate of the alternative path and the manner in which its impact on the main character grows. And then the relationship story through line, this is the fourth version of the through line. As soon as the main character encounters their influence character, a skirmish ensues in the midst of the battle as a whole. The two characters close in on one another in a theatrical game of chicken. Each hopes the other will give in, eliminating the need for risk of bloodshed on both sides. The main character shouts at their influence character to get out of the way. The influence character stands fast, insisting that the main character change course and even pointing toward the fork in the road. As they approach one another, the interchange becomes more heated until the two are engaged in heart-to-heart combat. Which one is right? While the overall story through line battle rages all around, the main and influence characters fight their private engagement. The relationship story through line describes the course this passionate battle takes. We have described a story as a battle. The overview that takes in the full scoop of the battle is the overall story through line. Within the phrase, one special soldier through whom we experience the battle firsthand, that is represented by the main character through line. The main character is confronted by another soldier blocking the path. Is it friend or foe? Either way, it is an obstacle. And the exploration of its impact on the main character is the influence character through line. The main and impact characters engage in a skirmish. Main says, get out of my way, and impact says, change course. In the end, the steadfast resolution of one will force the other to change. This describes the relationship story through line. Taken together, the four through lines send a message to the audience. When things look one way to you, they might appear differently to others. What do things look like in the big picture? Which perspective is the most appropriate for the central problem of the story? Now that you've added story mind, overall story through line, main character through line, influence character through line, and relationship story through line to your writer's vocabulary, you have all the background you need to explore a whole new world of understanding, the Dramatica theory of study. Now that's just a start, and obviously that was all five. So there's the overall and then those four through lines. To find out more and to delve more deeply into this theory, you want to go to https://dramatica.com. Easy enough, dramatica.com, and find out more about this. I love a lot about this. It speaks to something that I talk about all the time, which is taking your story from the general to the specific. This is part of it. This isn't the whole. I mean, obviously, this is a really interesting way to look at something. But to me, it's like if you're trying to, for instance, if you want to tell the story that the Second World War was evil and bad, that's a big story. It's really hard to tell a big story like that. It's not like anybody's necessarily going to contest you on what it is you're trying to say, but how do you tell that story? How do you make it something that I will relate to? And how do you make it not just a history lesson or something that could be a documentary or a textbook in a history class? That's by the specific, finding the single person. The person living on a farm whose farm is overtaken by Nazis, the soldier, the child, anybody who can bring us into the specific. And through that person's story and through our ability to relate to that person, we are able to understand the broader scope of what it is you're trying to say. So I think there's some of that in what he's talking about when he talks about the overall story through line, the war, the main character through line, which is the person within it. And then he goes on to talk about then how do you put that main character into conflict, into their own personal battle, and how does that play out? And those are the influence character through line and the relationship story through line. So a very different way of wording it and putting it together, but a lot of really, really useful stuff in there. So have a look at Dramatica. And then next time I'll be back with another theory on storytelling for us to explore and talk about. Okay. So we'll see you later. Toodaloo.